Welcome to another episode of Inside CG. Today it is episode 29. I'm joined by
co-host Whitney Tuna.
And my name is Pamorn and Whitney, and today we've got a very special podcast for you all. What have we got in store, Whit?
Gym etiquette. So unspoken, maybe things that anyone entering the realm of Muay Thai boxing or a martial art has no idea about. What goes on, how to act, how not to act, and some funny things along the way that we've learnt.
We've also got a segment on sacrifices that no one sees and how people overcome them.
And a bit of Muay Thai, where we're at now, where things are going, and what we see in the future. Because in WA alone, there's been quite a few changes in the last 12 months that have, had a positive impact in the sport, but also, changed things a little bit. So it's good to discuss it and get on board on where things are going for the future.
It's a hot topic because Muay Thai has definitely evolved in the last 5 years, I feel.
Yeah.
Ever growing. So start us off. How's your training going, by the way?
Yeah, very good. We've entered peak week, which is traditionally the hardest week of your fight camp, where basically every session you just die and then you wake up and you do it all again. So just getting through that over the next few days, and then we can start to taper off ready for the big night.
And we've come in straight off the training session, so you can see we're all pretty much still sweaty. And
an authentic picture of what we normally look like today.
So how many days have we got coming up until the big Whitney return?
I think just over a week and a half now. Yeah.
Very cool. How's your inbox?
I'm just kind of ignoring it for now.
Have you got any tickets? Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's a bit of a funny one that some of our viewers recommended that we talk about, unspoken gym etiquette. You want to start us off with some things that people may or may not know, spoken or unspoken, when it comes to joining a fight gym or a fight-related sort of club?
So I was thinking about this, and I think there's two ways to do it. So when you first start your journey, so I'm going to say Gen Pop. Newbie, let's say the newbie. And then when you start getting into the realm of competing or fighting or sparring, and I'll throw myself under the bus. I've done many of these when I first started. I've got my phone. So the first one I had was asking to fight on your first session. Guilty, I did that with your dad. I think I even did it before I put my hand wraps on.
Okay, why did you do it? I guess that's a pretty common thing that we see as coaches. People come in for their trial, or they come in for their first week and they're like, when can I fight? Do you remember why you asked?
I think I did it to purely impress him and set the tone of hey, I'm here to be serious. Yeah, but now I think cringe.
Give us some examples of when you've been a coach, because you've obviously been guilty yourself.
Yeah.
Why do you think people do it?
Again, just to say I'm serious. Take me serious, please. Yeah, that's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where a little bit of A and a little bit of B, and B is sometimes people don't realise how serious fight sports is, and just how badly you can get hurt and the preparation required. And I think a lot of people think that they watch fighting, they see people in the cage or in the ring, and they want to be that. They're inspired, they're excited, they come and join a gym with the best of intentions to be that as well, and then they're thinking, hey, put me in, I want to challenge myself.
Yeah.
But on the receiving end of being beaten up in the ring or in the cage in front of a lot of people, you and I can both talk about that. It's not an easy sort of feat, is it?
Yeah, it's how long till I can fight is another one. And it's how long's a piece of string? How many sessions can you come to? Are you actually intentionally trying to learn during those sessions, or are you just kind of talking to your friend about how the weekend was? So normally the coach would say, hey man, you're ready to start sparring, or you might be ready to do an inter-club. But I always find the younger boys, when can I fight? They want to know it's in a few months, but the answer is a lot longer. Maybe a year, 2 years.
I think one thing people forget to focus on is the actual journey itself, and not the end of the destination, where I think people want to be known as they've done it. They want to have an Instagram display pic. They want to be able to be known as the guy that did it, which I think is great. Don't get me wrong. but they don't actually enjoy that process, and they're not immersing themselves to what actually should happen. Because for me as a coach, when I put people in, one of the biggest responsibilities that I have is their safety, their well-being. I want them to enjoy the experience, because I've put people in before, I've watched other coaches put people in before, they weren't ready, they got kicked the shit out of, and to be honest, I think those people really found that horrifying, and that's something I would never want as a coach. So the answer to the question is, what I say to people is, when people ask me how long it takes to fight, you only get out what you put in. You put in the work, you get the result. Wait for me to ask you for the opportunity when you're ready.
Yeah, so the other gym etiquette thing that is funny is, again, people are nervous when they come to a gym, is this headphone things. I think people put the headphones in because they want to avoid people, and it's how they can channel their nerves.
Wait, are you talking about the people that come in
with their
headphones in, stretch and skip?
And you're like, oh man, this is a community. Like, we're all here to embrace the journey together. We're here to help each other. The only way we can do that is if you like just take the headphones out and be a part of it. Like, really just be vulnerable with your nerves. Otherwise, that's the band-aid that you have to rip off.
Yeah, I guess fight sports is one of those singular sort of solo journeys for people, and people kind of...
But you need a team.
Yeah, you need a team, but people are very introverted. Like, as we know, you and me, very much introverts. The people we work with, introverts. Yeah. They come in and they're kind of a little bit nervous and, like you said, maybe insecure, so they put headphones in and zone out. So if you're one of those people, yeah, just take them off and be present with your surroundings. Be a part of it.
Classic one. So coaching, someone comes in 5 minutes late, they get their hand wraps out, they start doing that corner bounce.
Oh my God.
It takes 10 minutes to put them on. And
okay, let me just recap here. So the class has started, we've brought everyone together, we've welcomed them, we've stretched, we're skipping, and the person rocks up just at the end of skipping or halfway through?
Yeah. To avoid the skip.
I know who you are. Why does it annoy you?
Because I know that you're just trying to get out of the skip.
And it's like 2 minutes. Back in the old days in Thailand, you skip for half an hour. There's an old man that used to come around with a stick, on concrete, and he'd smack you if you stopped skipping, let alone if you just slowed down. But yeah, no, it's, in all seriousness, one of those things of coming in while people are skipping and wrapping your hands to avoid the warm-up. It's important you do it, because otherwise you're going to be injured. It's also important to get to know who you're working with, and it's just courtesy to the coach, because the coach is, they've got a lot going on in their head, managing a class of people and what they've got to teach.
Yeah.
So make sure you're not that person.
So uncomfortable topic.
Oh no, here we go.
But it is one that needs to be discussed.
Bam, bam, bam.
For the safety and well-being of every single person in the gym, and that's personal hygiene.
Oh yeah, of course. How can you not miss that? Isn't that just a common courtesy?
No, but it's not. People don't know this, because it's like a non-personal space sport. We're together, holding pace for each other, sparring together, clenching together. If you have been at work all day, shower. Use the showers before work. Little
known fact, every Champions Gym Club has a shower to be used, or showers, multiple, before and after work, people.
And brush your teeth. Like, put a toothbrush and some toothpaste in your bag and brush your teeth before you start sparring. Deodorant's
always a good one. And I'm not talking about you lynxes over the top of, a shower in a can. You've got to have a shower, then use your deodorant, yeah.
Be a good training partner. Yeah.
I think another one that's pretty important is washing your hand wraps, and a lot of people actually don't know that you should wash your hand wraps. I spoke to a guy a couple of weeks back, and I was like, how often do you wash your hand wraps? He's like, once a month. And I was like, you need to wash them at the end of every session, because the bacteria grows, it festers, and if you can smell it, that's not a good thing. So in Thailand, you train morning and night, you've got 2 or 3 pairs of wraps. Little hack for you boys, especially if you shampoo your hair after training, put your hand wraps on the floor, wash them with a bit of soap, hang them out to dry, they'll be ready for your next session. Little tip for you. Yeah. Raw dog style, Thailand style. Oh, and then your bag with your gloves. Yeah. Don't leave them in the boot of your car on a 40-degree day, because that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. So yeah, just like keeping a little bit responsible for your personal hygiene.
Nothing worse than one of the Thai trainers a couple of years ago was like, I wake up for my morning sessions to hold pads for people at the gym, and people are going, shh, 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 and they're breasting.
No, don't be
Probably being guilty myself, but hey, there you go. Put it out there.
So now you've started sparring. That's where you're at. And see, all the time, and again, I was that person. You go in crazy. Like, you want to show your coach how good you are, how tough you are. and then you can't handle it back.
Pretty common, yeah.
If you go hard, expect it hard back.
Well, give as good as you're hoping to get back, I believe. That's a pretty important one. So, yeah.
Don't suck on the receiving end.
Happens a lot. Yeah, back to that sort of, the whole fight game sport is when you're getting involved and it does get tough and it is challenging. It's a process, right? How did you get through your sessions from where you just talked about to developing to who you are today?
Learning. It was just like, you can't really sugarcoat what fighting is. You have to go through all those like little turning points and go, I've learnt my lesson from that. You know, like if I start trying to smoke a girl that's had a lot more fights than me, inspiring, and she folds me back, like, good on her.
Yeah.
I deserve that.
Yeah.
My defense isn't as good as hers. But if you just give up when things get hard, like, that's on me. I gave up.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? Like, you watch some guys come in and they poke the bear, and when I say poke the bear, they're either levels above, or a little guy will go against a big guy and try to take the head off, and then they wonder why they get given it back and they hate it. So it's important to make sure that you are kind of aware of what you're getting yourself into. As the famous quote years back was, Benny Hart.
They know what they signed up for.
He would say, I'd say to him, look, obviously pull your power. He's a super heavyweight, 120 kilos at the time. And I'd say, look, and he said, well, the guy knew what he signed up for. So that's a quote that I live by. It's pretty important. I'll never forget that. The other thing you see is people obviously realising how confronting it is getting beaten up. People do quit. And remember this, if you quit in sparring, you're most likely to quit in other areas of your life. I'm a big believer of that. So don't quit.
On that, I think Muay Thai is for everyone.
Yeah.
But Muay Thai fighting is not for everyone.
Fighting is hard. You're going to get beaten up.
You can come here and you can get super fit and lose weight and get some really good aspects.
100%. Friends for life. Don't forget that. Self-defense, confidence, self-esteem, all of that.
But I honestly do not believe that fighting is for everyone.
100%. It's not.
Yeah.
It's the idea is romantic.
Yeah.
Every young man wants to prove himself in the arena. Every man and woman, wants to prove themselves. And
that's okay. If it's not for you, please do not pretend it's for you.
I've had my nose broken. I have a scar that I look at myself in the middle of my face every single day. Multiple cuts, like so many things you carry around, and it's like, it's one of those things you're either built for it or you're not. And if it's not, well, that's okay.
All right. Now the pet hate, especially as females, and I've spoken to so many girls about this, is you're holding pads for a boy and they just have no respect for your size. They just like put everything into it and you can't keep up with them.
Do you mean they're going too hard?
Yeah.
Too much power?
Too much power. And a bit crazy, like when they've got no rhythm.
Why do you think they do that?
Impress you.
Okay. So you're thinking the guy's trying to impress the girl by hitting hard?
Yeah, or they're just an idiot.
Does that impress you? What are some things going through your mind when a guy's like...
The girls are like, I'm never fucking coming back.
Yeah, true.
But what do
you think in that moment?
I say...
What's going through your mind as a pad holder, as a woman? And you're holding for a 100-kilo guy.
I don't want to let them down. I don't want to be a bad pad holder. This is too hard. It's not for me. I'm going to go back to do Pilates.
Oh, I think you're just thinking, fuck.
Yeah. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I just say, girls, tell them, hey, can you just slow down? Because I am much smaller than you. I'm new to this. You're obviously really good or strong. Can you just chill? Communicating is like a real big thing in this environment.
Yeah, I've seen girls go through a whole session against like a guy maybe going to even, I don't know, it's just a size thing as well, and they won't say anything the whole session and they just totally hate it and they never actually say why they're upset and they don't actually improve. So.
Communication is a big thing. Yeah.
What else is there?
Let's have a look. Yeah, we talked about not asking to fight. Kind of ask for your, I think that's all it from me. Have you got anything?
I think another one, and this is later down the line again, after being a beginner, intermediate to advanced, is people that want to fight but don't actually reflect the work required to have a fight. And this is something that's kind of hard as a coach because you want people to obviously go through the experience and they want to feel the ups and downs and the hardships of training. But if you commit to a fight, commit to a fight. Like a lot of people sometimes will cut corners and use work as an excuse or
pull out last second
or, just disappear for a couple of sessions. And I say to people is like, we've got a small time frame to work, 4 to 6 weeks worth of training. That includes clinching, sparring, running, nutrition, mindset, all of it. And in that short time frame, if we can get through this and work through that together, and you're honest with me and I'm honest with you, that's a beautiful thing, because later down the line, you can actually use that for your own life, because it's a challenge, right? What's some things that you see in that process that people maybe...
That's probably like the segue to our next topic.
Yeah.
Should we segue there?
Yeah, totally.
Sacrifice.
But what I'm saying is, if you commit to something, commit to it.
Yeah.
And if you can't commit to it, just tell your coach, because we're all human, we're all trying to get by, and we want to do these things, but maybe the time's not right. But if it is, go all in, just like you have.
Yeah. So I did not write this topic for the podcast, but it's probably something that, like, I'm way too tired and hungry to even deal with today. But fuck it, let's go. The sacrifices that no one sees when you fight.
And this is a bit of a hard one, isn't it? Because you've been out of the ring for 26 months.
Yeah.
You've had two babies that you've brought into the universe that are gorgeous. 18 months of that, your life, you've been pregnant. And the return it's hard. Like, you've had to lose all that weight and come back to being fight ready.
Yeah.
Yet again.
15 kilos. So just to lose 15 kilos alone, I don't think people understand the realm of commitment to that. It's like...
Totally.
That, you know, like when everyone was on Christmas and New Year's and in Rodo during Raft Up and having benders, like, I was fucking weighing my rice. Like, I had Christmas Day and then that was it. There was no New Year's. And this is where I think, like, people come to us and they're, I'm going to fight, I've got 20 kilos to go. Like, let's work now. Let's work today, because this is your goal. But that's what I want to say is, like, sacrifices the word sacrifice is, like, misleading, because this is my goal. Like, I can't...
You chose to sacrifice, yeah.
So I can't be like, oh, P, like, stop eating the food in front of me, like, stop going and having burger night and pizza night with our kids on Friday, because that's a family tradition that we do. Like, you guys have to continue to do that, and I have to live my choice that I've made. Because I see so many posts on the internet about fighters, about sacrificing this. People don't understand. Like, they don't. Because that's not their goal. This is my goal.
So personal choice over sacrifice is a better word.
Yeah.
So what are some other personal choices that the personal choices to fight. So what are some things you miss out on as a fighter, as a mum, as a wife, as a business owner?
A lot of things that people struggle with when they start is not drinking for like 4 to 6 weeks. Training when you do not want to train.
Yeah.
Like, you turn up and you give your best regardless of your emotions and your DOMs, or how tired you are, or how sick of the gym you are, how many loads of washing you've done that week, you train.
So, would you say that's a mindset thing? It's something you've grown accustomed to building within your makeup?
Yeah, it was harder at the start, now I'm just used to it.
So how do you do it? Because other people may be wanting to do very similar, but life's busy, work's busy, family's busy. So what are some things that is it like a self-talk thing, or is it a list of things?
I know what it's like to get absolutely flogged in the ring. So I think, am I going to lose? Or am I going to put my best foot forward and do everything I can to ensure that I'm going to minimise getting flogged?
But when you're driving to the gym on one of those days where you can't be bothered, what do you say to yourself? What goes through your mind?
Don't be a little pussycat.
I might have to bleep that part out, but okay.
And also, like, I've got some awesome teammates at the moment. We all have our days, and they're usually on different days. So, like, you know, Miriam's fighting this weekend. She's had her moments, and I'm like, let's go.
Just get on with it.
I had that moment, and she's like, let's go. And that's what a good team's about, is like not enabling each other to have a bad day, but pushing each other out of that bad day and turning up and just doing our best.
Working your way through it, doing the best you can.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because last week there's a couple of the boys that have been really worried about their weight and making weight, and a lot of the guys were just not eating enough, and I'm holding pads for them and they were kicking like a piece of wet pasta on hitting the sink, and I was like, did you eat lunch today? And they said no. I thought, all right, cool, let's just push through the best we can, use your technique, work your defenses. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's just one of those things where there's always something that's kind of niggling you, but you got to push through it to get through it.
I think like friendship groups are a big thing around like the first timers that they don't think about, is like your friends are going out still, you know, they're having some casual drinks, and all these little things add up.
Wait.
and you're not recovering.
Wait. So all these things. Sorry, you go, and then I'll ask you the question.
Basically, you need to be a nun.
But
Yeah.
we as coaches were taught by the old school not to drink. Why is drinking not good if you're fighting?
Because your fitness and your weight,
Yeah.
discipline,
Recovery
recovery. Good.
definitely fucks you up.
Yeah.
It's funny because I do see people sometimes drinking, prepping for fights, and yeah, it's a weird thing. You don't want to do that, by the way.
Yeah. But people just might not know. Like we had a girl that, she was ready to fight, blah, 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 and we told her, hey, like, can't drink for the next 4 weeks, and she loved her wine, and she was like, fuck, I'm going to cancel my gym membership, and
She quit.
that's all again.
She quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else in terms of personal things that you missed out on due to your personal choice to get back in the ring and fight
Lots.
again?
But I always think, and I always say to people is, it's worth it because you're so proud about all the sacrifices you've made. They push you a little bit, like layers of sacrifices, or like, fuck it, I am going to go in there and I'm going to use all those sacrifices to just put on a good show and have a good fight.
Cool. Awesome.
But yeah, personal choice is a big thing. Don't walk around like, you don't understand, I'm a fighter. Like, we choose to do this.
We're all human at the end of the day. We've all got our trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
It's your decision to do this, and that's
Yeah.
great. All right, cool. And our final topic, this is one of great interest. So Muay Thai then versus Muay Thai now. Talk us through some things that you notice, let's say in the last 12 years since we started Champions Gym. What have you noticed
Now,
as a
we'll talk
sport?
about like 12 months. Because a lot,
Or the last 12 months?
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So about 12 months ago, they introduced D fights into WA.
That's D class
D
fights,
class.
yeah. It's
And then we've
A, B, C, D class.
C class, and then I would say
B class,
would you
A
say-
class, yeah.
And in C class, as you progress, you remove padding.
So tell us about D class. What's
So
the
D
difference?
class is same day weigh-in, 2 hours before the event starts. Your gloves are bigger, headgear, shin guards, and elbow pads.
16-ounce gloves?
Depends on your size.
Ah, right. Okay, yep.
I think the girls are on 12.
Yep. 90-second rounds?
90-second rounds, a minute break.
Mm-hmm.
So the first D class fight, we saw a lot of mismatches. I think
Trainers were bringing fighters that weren't a D class to fight D level, D class
Yeah.
fighters, and a lot of the guys were getting hurt. So it was up to the trainers to make sure, or the coaches to make sure the people they were bringing in were kind of your D class level,
so
your
we're
intermediates.
like FIFO people, maybe potentially more mums, the older guys in the gym that can't commit to that full-blown fight camp.
Or maybe just not ready to fight in the ring, like
They need to go a bit
A or B,
further.
C class, yeah.
Smaller venue, chiller vibes, cheaper tickets.
How has that changed, or what have you noticed about the D class?
So as a gym owner, what I found, and like I do a lot of the matchmaking, is if I have a girl, and there's not many girls out there as there is to match, and she's had one C class fight, and she may have lost, and she may have lost badly. She can't come back into the D class realm, so you can't go backwards.
Right.
So I think you can have like 4 to 5 D classes, and then you have to go to C class, but you can't come back. So now she doesn't want to fight C class again. Well, there might not be any girls there because they're all doing D class fights. So now I'm losing this girl because she's got no goal, she's overwhelmed, and that's hard.
What else have you noticed?
A lot of opportunity for people at FIFO that can't, they're doing an 8 and 6, or the older guys in the gym that can't commit to like the hours and hours of training. And it's really good to see these guys step in there and have like a, what would you say, venue, an opportunity
To have an arena to put their skills to the test. I think
Yeah.
it's great. And I think is it 3 or 4 bouts you're allowed to before you have to have a
I
next
think 4
level
or
up.
5, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good because it does give people something to strive to and aspire to,
Yeah.
even when they're perhaps not ready to actually take the full plunge and jump into the sort of 2-minute rounds, minute break and all the rest of it, and
Yeah.
less padding as well. So
Yeah,
it's
and
good.
I think the weight cutting's different. People are not cutting as much weight for that 24-hour weigh-in. Just taking that pressure off. Like
Yeah.
as a coach, to get someone from a brand new person, never touched pads, into a fight is the hardest job you've got. When they've had that one fight, they know the ropes, they know those little mental points, the mindset, they know what to prepare for, they know what to put in their bag, they know what forms to fill out, they know how much things are going to cost. But nurturing someone into that first fight is a lot for a coach.
It is. And the thing that I've probably noticed when it comes to the same day weigh-in that you mentioned is people are actually a lot more in tuned and are more aware of the dangers of weight cutting, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
Back 10, 15, 20 years ago, trying to get someone to make weight, some of the things you would see were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, crazy restrictive diets, stupid amounts of weight cuts in a very high heat room, and is dangerous.
Yeah.
Now you've got people like the fight dietitian, all of these great sort of resources that people can use and reach out to. It's all online, and people are so much better at being leaner, maintaining their weight, and being able to kind of weigh in on the day close to what they would be fighting at, which I think is great. So it's what's required for the sport to evolve and move forward.
And I feel like as a coach, like my job is not to help you with your weight cut. Invest in that money to get an actual professional that's dealt with nutrition, but also weight cuts, because nutritionists and weight cuts are different things.
Totally.
And then that removes the coach away from that. And
they can be the best coach, best coach prepping you for your fight. Your nutritionist is in charge of your nutrition,
But like having someone tell you, eat this at this time, eat that at that time, takes the emotions out of it.
Totally. So what do you think is next for the sport?
I think we'll get into the flow of these D fights. Anyone that's really good will go into C class. More girls will hopefully come through. I always think just about the girls. Through the Ds, more opportunity, build confidence. Like, it's not as bad as you think.
Just give it a go, sort of thing.
Yeah, just give it a go. Don't put it on the pedestal that a lot of people kind of do. And I think it's growing. Like, we're getting like 30 bouts on these cards, which is insane.
It's huge. It's very good. 60 competitors an event for 30 bouts is massive.
Yeah.
For me, I think they
used to have like 10 people on a card 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was hard to find matches before. Now the matches are just thrown at you, which I think is great. For me, I think with the advent of big cards like Rajanamnen, RWS, One Championship, you've seen a lot of Perth people on the One Championship circuit. It's opened the opportunities up to what's possible, and it's taken people that are locally homegrown, grassroots athletes. You look at Al Husqvarna, or Alex Roberts, Minnie T, Godfredson. You look at all these great fighters that have come through that are now competing on that world circuit, and that's an inspiration for the next generation, that anything is possible. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And we should start to see our sport progress in leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The more of these grassroots events, and that's where my heart is, like grassroots, like getting as many people as we can to have that first step is only going to raise the bar in the overall sport. Because,
totally.
Like,
it's a beautiful sport.
Been around for so long.
It's such a beautiful sport, and these guys are hard workers. They've been around since they were only kids 15 years ago, fighting in the local basketball stadiums, and now they're on that huge stage. So done great things for the sport and paved the way for the next generation.
And now you've got like females fighting in like, Rajal and Peeny, that was just not a thing 2 years ago.
Totally.
Especially, and it was really frowned upon.
Yeah, especially allowing them to fight in the big stadiums in Thailand has been a game changer.
Yeah. It would be good to see more than one female bout on the cards, but
slowly but surely. Anything else you want to add?
I'm a go.
Yeah. So just one more plug, because we are inside less than 2 weeks away from the big bout, the big return for Whitney Tuna on Muay Thai Super Series. Take my hat off to Gavin Fuller. I'm just going to say this, who has invested a lot of time, money and passion into this project.
Yeah, it's a huge card.
I take my hat off to him, because I don't think people really understand the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, being a promoter ourselves, and putting on a stage, putting all of your hard-earned money up front to invest in all of these great opportunities and a platform for people to fight and represent their clubs, themselves as people and their families, and it's just like a big showcase, which I think is really special.
Yeah,
it's a treat for the people. For the people.
Huge, and I don't think unless you're a promoter, you would really understand the scope of setting the ring up, packing it down, putting the tables out, chairs out, setting up. There is so much physical labour before the show even starts, and then the matchmaking, especially for girls, you've got Fawn, she's fighting Ellie, that's an international. Most of them are international or or flying someone in.
The big one is Joe Ryan and Kong, Thailand. That's huge. It's going to be a great fight.
This is huge, like huge purses, getting trainers out there. So yeah, like without people like Gav, the sport does not move.
100%.
And I think he deserves a lot. He's a behind the scenes guy. Like,
doesn't take a lot of, doesn't like taking the centre stage or the limelight. Doesn't like the limelight.
Yeah, so really get behind the show and support it, because without people like Gav,
and Nicola,
does not,
his wife Nicola as well.
Sport does not grow.
100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, how can people get tickets to the big fight?
Annoy you, not me.
So tickets are available in club at Champions Gym, Highgate, Muay, and Joondalup. We do have a limited amount of tickets left because unfortunately everyone wants to come watch the boss lady back in action, which I think is very exciting. I want to bring Björn down to watch his mum in action as well, and he can wear a blue shirt. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I'm excited to watch your fight. I always have been excited to watch your fight because you work very hard, you are very passionate, very dedicated, and hopefully the Blue Army will get you down, and we're going to make it a night to remember, because it's always a really good night to be inspired. How can people find you?
Don't.
You say that every episode. You've got to give yourself a plug. Follow at Whitney Tuna on Instagram. My name's Pamorn Mark D, and thank you for watching. If you watch this far, we really appreciate your time and support. And like, follow, subscribe. Is that what they say?
Yes.
Thanks for watching.